In fact, what we'll kind of do is I'll grab another view for you guys here and give me just a second because we'll change up some of the radar that we have. We'll switch to a more national view. So we'll go to national. We'll pick on, there we go, U.S. radar right there. So we can kind of get what's called a composite of different radar sites. We'll go ahead and click the play button here. We'll go for the last hour or so, and you can kind of see how this gets put into motion. So what you get out of this is you can kind of clearly see our area of low pressure. So I'll draw a really bad L right there. And ahead of that, you get the air that's coming in out of the south and east. And so again, this is really going to pile up some of the rain along some of our higher terrain. And this is going to come in from the East Coast from time to time. But what you get out of this is multiple days of rain because of this storm system that really, for the most part, is going to hang out right around here. It may move south a little bit, but for the most part, you see this pretty much off and on moisture that's moving into parts of the region. So again, we're looking at off and on rain, not just tonight, but heading into tomorrow and heading into Wednesday. Now, if you get a good rain measurement and you want to share it with us, or maybe let's say you see some flooding around the area, you can be part of the story and you can send us your pictures, your videos, only when it's safe to do so. But you can do so through Pin It on our weather app. That's where we're streaming live right now. Or you can go to WSLS.com/pins. So this storm system, we oftentimes call it a cutoff low. And so storm systems are areas of low pressure. And when we say this is cut off, it's cut off from the rest of the air pattern. So it really doesn't move very much. And that's why we see moisture coming in all week long. Now, does that mean that it rains 24/7? No, but you'll see periods of rain and several inches of rain expected. So there's some good news and some bad news with that. Number one, we get rid of that smoky haze that we've seen over the past several days. It came in from the wildfires in Western Canada. We also see some relief from the rain deficit, or in some cases, the drought. Now, the downside to this is this may mess up some of your plans. My boss was saying that his son's got baseball tryouts. That's going to be hard to get in with how soggy the ground is going to be. And there's also some flood potential, especially as you head into Grayson, Carroll, Patrick, and Floyd counties. That's where a flood watch is in effect from 6 a.m. tomorrow until 6 p.m. Thursday. Now, this could be expanded to include other counties, just depending on how much rain we actually get. But for right now, that's where the National Weather Service has its flood watch in effect. And that's where most of the rain is expected to be. Now, keep in mind, this is spread out over the course of a few days. So between now and Friday, areas in the dark green, most forecast data shows between 2 to 4 inches of rain, maybe some isolated higher totals, especially along the Blue Ridge Parkway. But for areas in the yellow, again, your Grayson, Carroll, Patrick, and Floyd counties, you're looking at 4 to 8 inches of rain. And again, because I was talking about before, you get that air that really moves up the higher terrain because it's coming in from the south and east. So that's why we think we see more rain in those areas shaded in the yellow. And keep in mind, those of us east of the Parkway have already seen about an inch or more of rain so far. So here's future trackers. We go through the rest of the evening and the overnight. You continue to see this off and on rain. Some of that is going to be heavy at times heading into tomorrow morning. So that's why, again, there is the flood potential in areas like Grayson, Carroll, Floyd, Patrick, Franklin, Henry counties, especially because you've seen quite a bit of rain. We showed you that earlier in the Appcast, that there have been some reports of 1 to 2.5 inches of rain already in parts of Franklin and Henry counties. Now, fast forward throughout the day tomorrow, and showers may start to turn a little more scattered heading into the afternoon. But any time that you've got low pressure nearby and it's just kind of stalling, there's really no rhyme or reason as to the timing of the rain. So that's why we call it off and on rain. One of the things you'll also notice is how unseasonably cool it's going to turn here as we go through the next few days. In fact, Wednesday, you're looking at a high temperature in Roanoke of 68. Wednesday's the summer solstice. The coolest afternoon we've had on the summer solstice was 68 degrees back during the summer solstice of 1979. Now, after all of this is said and done, we need the rain, right? A lot of us have said that. My dad was talking to me about it over the weekend, and we're in pretty much a similar boat, a similar camp. So once we get that rain, the yard's going to respond to it, but we're going to need to take care of that afterwards. And as we get closer to the weekend, looks like showers, thunderstorms are going to be a little more scattered, a little more typical, right? In the summertime, you expect those afternoon pop-up showers and storms. By Saturday and Sunday, that's more or less how things are going to wind up looking for us. Going to press pause right now. Here we are, 10:09. Allie, have we had any questions? Awesome. For the most part, yeah. So the question was, do I think this will get us out of the deficit that we've been in? For Roanoke, we're at a 6-inch deficit for the year, so this will at least help. For Lynchburg, we've been at about a 4-inch deficit for the year, and this will certainly help. For Southside and the New River Valley, we've been at about a 1 to 3-inch deficit, and I really think those are the areas that are going to see the most improvement out of this storm system, and then some. That's why we're still including that localized flood potential, but there at least is some relief on the way, so that's some good news. Were there any other questions? Cool. Then our rain told us, so the question, I keep forgetting that you guys at home can't hear the questions that are being said in my ear. So the question was, what if it were to rain 24/7 all week long? Well, then we would take these rain totals up, right? So the heaviest stuff that we see, that's going to happen at times tomorrow and then perhaps Wednesday as well. But as we get into Thursday, late Wednesday and Thursday, it looks like it's going to be kind of steady rain, if anything. So if we were to see more of a 24/7 kind of thing, just hypothetically speaking, I would probably take this up to like 5 to 10 and take this up to about 3 to 6 inches of rain. On Thursday, yeah, so Thursday may actually start to transition into more of a scattered kind of rain, but it doesn't appear as though we'll see anything torrential, nothing really tropical, thankfully, by Thursday, but we'll still have some scattered stuff out there from time to time, just because that area of low pressure is still going to be hanging out with us. Awesome. Cool. So what we'll do over the next few minutes, for those of you who may just be tuning in, I'll take you for a little bit of a radar tour, show you what's developing out there right now. So this is some of my earlier artwork. We're going to take that off the screen here, and we're going to put you guys on more of a local view and kind of show you what exactly is happening. Now, this is a radar composite. What I'll do is get us to the more local radar that's more detailed, right? That's the stuff that we have there is kind of cluttered, but yeah, there you see the more detailed radar. And what we'll do is we'll put it on a current view. That way we can zoom into a few different points of interest. Now, good news is upon earlier investigation, there's no rotation or anything like that. These are not severe thunderstorms, but you do have some areas of heavy rain in areas that have already seen some heavy rain, right? Madison Heights, Amherst, areas like Stonewall and Appomattox County, downtown Lynchburg seeing quite a bit of heavy rain. Let me zoom things out a little bit, and you see this all moving south to north. So again, areas that have already seen quite a bit are continuing to see more rain. In fact, we'll go ahead and show you the 24-hour rain total so far in and around Lynchburg, and it's been pretty impressive, right? So where you see the green, that is where you've seen about an inch of rain. So we'll go into areas just north of Rustburg. That's about 1.5 inches to 1.75 inches. And getting closer to Appomattox, we've seen close to 2 inches of rain. Now, keep in mind, these are radar estimates, so these are not perfect, but it does go ahead and tell the general story of how much rain we've seen already, and with more on the way as we continue to see this off and on rain throughout the rest of the evening. So here we go. We'll zoom out a little bit more, and what I'll do is take you guys into a more defined view. I'm going to take you into the south side view that we already have saved for you guys. And there you see some heavy rain getting closer to Highway 58, also areas just to the west of Chatham. So Henry and Franklin counties where we've seen 1 to 2 inches of rain, still seeing some heavy stuff out there, at least some steady stuff continuing to move in from the south and east. We'll zoom in again. There's Danville, a little more steady, but as you get closer to areas like Brosville, maybe Cascade and Axton, there's some of your heavier rain, and that is moving to the north at about 30 miles per hour. So what we can actually do is put a little storm track on that for you, and we'll move that to the north at about 30 miles per hour. So give or take a little bit. So areas like Callahan's Hill or Mount Cross probably within the next 5 to 10 minutes. And again, areas like Brosville, you're getting pretty close to that as well, right along Highway 58 there. So again, nothing severe with that. In fact, I can actually show you if we want to go ahead. I'll take a look at the velocity, the wind speed with this particular heavier portion of the storm. Come on. There we go. And you can see, yeah, there's nothing to write home about that. So it's not like we've got howling winds or anything like that. But we do have some heavy rain again in the western half of Pittsylvania County. And oh, pardon me, I'll bring you to the home view. There we go. And you guys can see how this continues to build in from south to north. So parts of Franklin, Henry, Pittsylvania counties, Grayson, Carroll, Floyd, and Patrick counties could wind up with some localized flooding. Allie, I thought I heard you getting in my ear. Do we have questions? Cool. So the question was, will the heaviest rain be tonight, tomorrow? And that's exactly right. So I think most of the rain that we see this week is actually going to happen within the next 24 hours or so. And you can kind of see that as we put radar into motion. You see that kind of trajectory that's piling things up along the Blue Ridge Parkway. And just to kind of give you a little bit of a reference point, we mentioned the Blue Ridge Parkway, and that is pretty much, and I'm going to do my best to draw this while I'm on the green screen. That is pretty much, well, I messed it up on the southern half, but that is pretty much right there, okay? So the Blue Ridge Parkway is going to be along into the east of the Roanoke Valley, so you can kind of see how the air is rising up that terrain a little bit. So that's why I think we see our heaviest rain tonight into tomorrow. And then still some periods of rain on Wednesday and on Thursday. And what I can also do for you guys is we'll back up the view and we'll show you another feature of our storm system. What I'll do is instead of showing the radar, what we can do is show the satellite so we can kind of see the shape of this storm system. And that'll give you a better idea as to what exactly we're dealing with. So you can kind of see that spin over Tennessee and Kentucky, right? And then you see all the clouds out ahead of it. So that is our moisture that's coming in off the Atlantic, and then it rises up the terrain here in southwest and central Virginia. So that's, again, why we think we're going to see a decent helping of rain over the course of the next several days. And in fact, what I can do is go ahead and show you the rain totals that we expect out of this. So as far as how much rain between now and Friday, about 2 to 4 inches, which again, most of that is helpful because some of us have been in such a rain deficit in 2023 that most of this is helpful. However, too much of a good thing can sometimes go in the opposite direction. So especially in these areas shaded in yellow, parts of Franklin, Henry, Patrick, Floyd, Carroll and Grayson counties, we're looking at throughout the week about 4 to 8 inches of rain. So again, this is not all going to fall at once, but throughout the week, that's still about a month to maybe 2 months worth of rain. So that's why we could see some localized flooding becoming a possibility. So as I broke down earlier, and I'll go back to that graphic, there's pros and cons, right? This brings us a little bit of relief from the rain deficit, maybe greens up the grass a little bit. Gets rid of the smoky haze we've seen over the past few days, but it unfortunately messes up some plans and it leads to a localized flood potential. I don't think our flood potential is anything widespread, historic, or anything like that. So let's put that to rest. But there's at least the possibility for poor drainage areas, low-lying areas, creeks, streams, maybe some rivers to flood out of their banks. Time now coming up on 10:18. Do we have any other questions? Awesome. Well, guys, thank you so much for tuning into this Appcast. We do these every now and then whenever the weather gets a little inclement or severe. So be sure to download our 10 news and weather apps if you haven't already. And in the meantime, have a great rest of your Monday evening. We'll see you on 10 News at 11 on